Up here is the University of Florida. So, University of Florida, are you on board?
I'm here. Can you guys hear
All
me?
right. Yes, we can see you and hear you well.
Oh,
So,
excellent.
starting now, you have 20 minutes. Thank you for joining us.
20 minutes. I will be brief because I know we're at the end of a 1 hour plus presentation. And if you guys are like me as MS4s, you were pretty checked out. So I will not drag this on too much. Thank you, PM&R Scholars, for having us. My name is Mike Sane. I am the Associate Program Director for the brand new PM&R Residency Program here at UF in Gainesville. So I'm going to try to share my screen here, and feel free to interrupt me if anything's not working right. And let's see if this is going to work. Grant access to Zoom. That being said, I'm gonna just log in right back again just to share my screen. 1 second. Still learning to master the Zoom. Let's share the screen. Here we go.
All right. There you go. We can see you, we can
see
hear
me.
you, and we can see your screen as well.
Perfect. I'm just going to play this in the background. I know you probably won't be able to hear the volume very well. In fact, I'm going to mute it because I think this will be mainly just so you can tell that we have a good production value too with our videos, and to introduce you to our chairman. But I'd first like to start by saying thank you for sticking around to hear about our program. And I don't envy you guys as medical students trying to pick a residency program right now. It's certainly a tough time, and in many ways you're trying to pick a place sight unseen. This is our chairman, Kevin Vincent. He's sort of the director of our running program here. And it can be tough, and there's nothing I'm going to be able to tell you in a presentation. This is our head of researcher, Heather Vincent. There's nothing I'll be able to present to you, no data I can put into a slide that will make this decision easy. You know, it's not going to be all of a sudden clear that that's the place you want to be over anywhere else. So I can tell it's going to be a tough decision for you guys. So what I'm going to try to do is tell you why I chose the University of Florida, and sort of a little bit about my background, and just a bit of advice about picking a residency program and going through the process. So, you know, I'm not that far removed from residency myself. I graduated in 2013. So I can understand, you know, it's 3 years of your life. It's an intense 3 years. It's a big time commitment. And it's a social commitment. You might be picking a new city or a new location. And so I can see the gravity in it. I think one thing you might have noticed so far from, you know, a lot of these programs you've been hearing about is that residency in PM&R is a lot more similar than it's going to be different. And that's mainly due to the ACGME. A lot of your rotations are going to be sort of, for the most part, dictated in terms of you're going to have to get certain amounts of brain injury, certain amounts of rehab, certain amounts of outpatients, certain amounts of MSK under your belt. There's some icing on top of the cake in terms of ultrasound, and do I get to do injections or do I get to do EMGs? There's a lot of that might slightly vary, but ultimately a lot of this is all the same. So a lot of what UF Health is about is something called problem-solving care, and that's similar to PM&R in general. You know, I think that one of the nice things about rehab at UF is that we're very much integrated into the hospital already. We're just part of the program. All right, so I'm going to share my other screen now. There we go. One sec while I bring up my PowerPoint.
We can see your PowerPoint. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So, a lot of the programs, basically you'll have your inpatient education, your PGY level 2, and then your outpatient education. And there's not this clear dichotomy in terms of when you do your inpatient rotations and outpatient, it can be a little bit of a mix, but in general, most of your inpatient months will be towards your PGY 2 year, and then the rest will be towards your 3 and 4 years outpatient. There can be some blend, and I do think that for our program, we want there to be a bit of an introduction to the outpatient world while you're a PGY2, and vice versa. I think there's definitely benefits of having a PGY level 3 and 4 on a rotation with you on the inpatient side, both for education, both for as a resident, learning how to be more of a leader and be a teacher. So I think ultimately what we'll have to have is a real blend between our inpatient outpatient years. But in general, there'll be a sort of a 1 year and a 2 year split. And then regarding everything else in the program, a lot of it is, again, dictated by the ACGME. So it'll be sort of, you'll have your TBI time, you'll have your brain injury time, and you'll have your neuro rehab time. And I'm going to introduce you to the rest of the residency program on the next slide in terms of the key context I want you to have. And that will be sort of how we break up our years. I heard people mentioning elective time before. I think that really there's a balance there. There's certainly a benefit to having at least 1 month of an elective to be able to do an away rotation if necessary. But on the flip side, I think we also have a lot of programs and campuses here where we won't need to have you away for too much if you need to get a specific type of education under your belt, whether that's even within a different department. But I do also understand that sometimes you are doing an elective more as an audition, whether that's because of a specific type of program you want to get into for fellowship, or if there's a specific job in a specific location that you want to sort of show off your skills for. And our next slide. So in terms of our residency team, Andy Dubin is the residency director, and he joined our department last year, just about a month before I joined. And he joined from Albany, and there he was already a residency director at the time. So he has a lot of experience, and he's a wealth of experience to learn from in terms of having an idea of how to run a residency, and also the details of how to run an inpatient side of a residency and how to become a very, really excellent inpatient doctor. Myself, I'm the associate residency director. In terms of my background, I did my residency training at Spalding. I did my med school at University of Maryland, so I actually did a rotation with Dr. Melanie Brown, which is to say how small a world PM&R is. And then I did a fellowship in anesthesia pain at the University of California in San Diego. And then I came right back to academic PM&R, and I joined UF just last year. Now, why did I choose UF? And this, I think, is a good idea for residency in general, is, a lot of it's going to be on feel. I think that's a good point to make in any time for choosing residency or fellowship or any job, is I think you want to be in a place where you'll feel happy, and where you'll feel respected and valued. And you shouldn't try to go to a place where it has a really great name, just because you think it's going to be, really good for your career in the future. Because, 3 years is a good amount of time. It's a fair amount of your life. And I think during that 3 years, you want to be both happy in work and outside of work. For me, UF was the chance to join something big and new. The residency program is brand new. We're just now entering the match. So our as a PGY2 level, you will be the first to graduate from the program. And I think that that's exciting for me. I think there's a chance to really do a lot of innovative things here at UF. There's all of the tools necessary, and now it's just up to us, you know, to make it something special. So in terms of the campus, our home base is the Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, or OSME, which is where the Department of Orthopedics and Rehabilitation is housed, and where a majority of our clinics are in terms of the outpatient side. We do have clinics around Gainesville, around the city. Gainesville's not very large, it's a small college town, but there's various satellite hospitals. And so where I am, I'm at the Spine Center, which is in the Neuromedicine Hospital, which is a brand new hospital built right next to the main UF inpatient hospital. And then Dr. Dubin would be at the Rehabilitation Hospital at Select, which is, again, just down the street from the main UF Shands Hospital. So I think all of the tools are in place, all the instruments are there for a really amazing program. And now we just need to follow through. So what will make a good resident, and sort of why, who would be good here? I think you have to see the new as an opportunity. You know, if you're somebody who does best kind of told exactly what tomorrow brings, and the day after that, and the month after that, you know, this might not be the best program for you, because some of this will be about building a new program and about sort of creating something new. And then part of being a good resident here would be being someone who'd want to shape a program. There's going to be some things you might see that you don't like or that you think might be improved upon. And part of being that first class is building it right. There's certainly things when I was a resident that I thought we should change, and a lot of it wouldn't get changed because, you know, that, well, I did it when I was a PGY2, so you have to do it now that you're a PGY2, and then so forth. And so when you're a PGY4, you say, I don't want to change the call schedule, or I don't want to change who does this or that. So I think it can also be kind of exciting to be part of shaping how a program is built from the ground floor. And so the big information I want you to take from this is, you know, go with your heart when you're selecting a program. You're going to get a decent feel of places during the virtual interviews. You're more than welcome to come for a visit, and we'll figure out dates for that as time goes on. If you want to see the city of Gainesville and kind of get an idea of what our college town looks like, and if you want to, you know, time how long it takes to get to the beach from here, it's about an hour and a half in any direction. You know, if you want to actually see, you know, Gainesville for what it is, definitely come and visit, but we're going to try our best to give that experience during the interview process virtually. Please feel free to contact us. Tara Smith, her email is on this slide, and she's an excellent go-to if you need just basic information about the application, or if you wanted to learn more about coming to visit us. And then our website, you know, there's a lot of the information you might be curious about and like have questions about, like, well, what's this or that like? What's your call schedule like, et cetera? Or when would I do this or that? You can find that through our website. And there's a lot of good, just sort of news information about the program and development. So I think that's the main information to take from this. My part of this talk is just, this is who to contact, and this is where to get more information from. So again, best of luck with your decision making. You're going to find a good place where you're going to be happy. We're all in the same boat together. So thanks again for having us.
Thank you, Doc. You guys have still 5 minutes left. So if folks have questions, they will use the chat box. Do you have access to the chat box so you can see the questions?
I do. I see the questions coming in.
All right, perfect.
Okay, so a question regarding LGBTQA and URIM. So that's actually a very I'm glad you brought that up. So diversity is definitely a big part of what we're looking to do in terms of building a program right from the start. So UF certainly has put out lots of statements in terms of its stance towards being an ally towards lesbian, gays, bisexuals. And also there's a really good statement put out by UF Health regarding the Black Lives Matters movement and the recent protests with regarding George Floyd's death. So there's definitely a real push at UF to make sure we are leaders going forward in diversity. And I was really impressed with the open letter we put out more recently regarding Black Lives Matters and the George Floyd protests. So yeah, I do imagine that that's going to be part of the UF residency program going forward. In terms of what I'm looking for applicants to be part of my first class, so there's not really some metric we're looking for in terms of a number or specific traits. I think for me, it's always been more important what your attitude is. You know, I think using a sports analogy, there's a lot that you can do as a coach or as like a teacher in terms of training somebody. One of the things you can't teach or train is attitude. So what we're looking for is really people's positive attitudes. We don't expect you to know everything as trainees, as medical students, or as residents, even as fellows. You know, the reason why you come to be with us for 3 years of your life is to learn. So mistakes are going to happen, and questions should come up. Will we incorporate OM techniques? So currently, none of our faculty is doing OM. There is faculty at UF that does OM. One of the family medicine providers does OM. So as far as a training part of our program, no. Where I did residency, there wasn't a lot of OM amongst the faculty, but there was OM amongst the residents. So one of the great things of having a diverse residency group, and that's what we're going to look for, is that you know, people come from different backgrounds that will be able to provide some training for us too. If you're looking to learn OM, like say you're an MD and you're looking to learn OM as part of your residency program, you have probably not the best place. Plans for promoting resident bonding and interaction. Well, probably for the time being, it's all going to be virtual via Zoom. That being said, UF kind of got in trouble recently. Our anesthesia residents got in trouble.
You have 2 minutes left.
So, you know, resident bonding is going to be big. I think part of the thing that I would also mention is one of the big opportunities for UF is that there's going to be a very high faculty to resident ratio. So if you have a specific interest in something, you're not going to have a bunch of other residents ahead of you that are going to be like, oh, I want to do that. So, you know, you don't get to see that injection or this or that. That being said, there's going to be a lot more of us attendings than residents at first. So it's going to be kind of up to you guys to do some of the social stuff. Yes, so UF, so where we're housed is the University of Florida Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Institute. So yeah, we're very much part of sports medicine there already. So we're going to be pretty integrated into that. Dr. Dan Herman is one of our main sports medicine gurus. He does a lot of our MSK ultrasound. So I can give you more information about actual sports medicine opportunities. But yes, I do imagine us being still a very large part of UF sports, sports med. Okay, last question. I'll try to be quick. I know we're running out of time. So for research, there is some work looking at PRP right now, particularly for runners. And that's, pardon me, not runners, pitchers, people, so throwers and baseball players. That is primarily by our attending Dr. Jason Zaremski. So that's still getting off the ground. Sports, I'm not sure what the marathon coverage is. Some of that is more just because I'm brand new faculty, so I'm not sure exactly what races are potentials. But again, as being part of a new program, some of that's going to be up to us to build together. And with that, I think I'm all out of time. Really appreciate you guys sticking around.